welcome back to another video of AIML Bootcamp. This is Kobi. So, in the previous parts, what we have studied about is how to gather the data, how to clean it, how to store it, and what are the best practices of programming in Python as well. We learned about NumPy, Pandas, how to plot your data to get the best analysis and insights out of the data. So now, moving forward, we will be moving towards sources, data cleaning, and this will be the part which will cover the prereq of machine learning. After that, we'll be moving forward with machine learning algorithms and all are the stuff which we can do. So consider this video as the last step in building the foundation of the whole machine learning concept. After that, whatever we'll be doing, it will be relying on the algorithms which we have to use, the type of learning which you can use, and everything which you can do from the existing models, how they work, what is the actual science behind them, which will help you figure out like if given a particular problem in an interview or let's say the project that you're working on, so you'll be able to decide effectively that okay, this is the problem, this is the parameters that have been given, this is the type of parameters that I have to take. What kind of model I have to use, what algorithm I have to use, you will be able to decide proficiently. So before that, what comes is like how to store your data effectively. Yes, that's the next step. And yeah, this is not just a short like demonstration that you will require. Data formats will be relying heavily on CSV formats. Parquet, Excel you must be knowing, JSON format to all those who are working in developer fields. JSON format you must be aware of. Parquet is something which is used in delta tables as you move towards Fabric. It helps in like uh, faster insights on the data. It has to be faster because it stores in vertical format rather than the horizontal columns. So that's another really good data format if you want to move towards data analytics and data scientist. Uh, After that we'll be going towards with the cleaning techniques and pre-processing techniques in detail, like how to make your data ready that you want to give it to the model. So yeah, let's start with this video. So now coming towards data collection. So data collection is you can think of how you're collecting your data from different devices. It's just consider this as a basic step, like how you want to interact with the AI, like in terms of image upload, media upload, in terms of queries. So there are a lot of formats of data collection. Uh, SQL, NoSQL types of databases you must have learned about. So if you go towards this URL, you go here. Relational databases, SQL databases. SQL you have already seen. So how you store data in SQL? It stores in your data in terms of uh, like key value pairs, like each row column. If you see your schema design, so it has the index and all your tables along defined. Now SQL is just basically a MongoDB which stores data in the form of documents. Cloud database is something if you do Cosmos or more like that, like file store systems, Oracle database. Uh, now comes towards your sorry, not Oracle. Okay, cloud databases, vast resource and scalability of cloud computing platforms. Resources, scalability. Okay, relational databases. Yeah, they are more kind of MySQL. Yeah, that's why. Thank you. So now the main things come towards is machine learning is vector database. So consume vector databases is they store all your data in forms of vector in multi dimensions. Like when you study vector in let's say class 11 to 12, or if you have heard about them, so vector is like a quantity, a magnitude with a direction. So you what you must have learned is how a vector does operations in two dimensions, one dimension. But as there are vast amount of words in the dictionary in one language. Now, if you combine all languages like how ChatGPT and other AI models are able to perform, You get the vector databases insight as like uh, it has to be in the dimensions of let's say 20, 30, or a lot of parameters. Why? Because arrow pointing in a particular dimension in a particular language has to be for specific meaning. And similarly, the arrow that are close to one another must have some relationship in particular. So that's how you get mapped. Now, if you go towards more, attempt, alright. Okay, yes. So let's consider this. Let me take your vector space. Okay, consider this vector space. So each of these words is pointing towards a specific direction in the vector space. Let's say some is pointing towards that, some towards that, and in multiple dimensions, some towards arrow this. So how models predict their work, predict the next word is they compute the next word from each of these vector dimensions and adds the weight like this word contributes to the possibility of next word in this manner. So then they get the probability distribution like what an next word can be, and it gives you the response based on the parameters set by you, like temperature, like variety, what you have wanted. So that's just a brief overview of how AI works. So in terms of making it happen, you want your like let's say data to be in the form which can be accessed easily by the AI models. So that's why the concept of vector database is introduced. Some of the most prominent and widely used vector databases are Fias by Facebook, so go towards this. Yeah. Fias documentation, it was developed by Facebook only. So that's a low cost, but yeah, super scalable and super fast. So okay, what happens is when you have the database, it's widely useful while designing your own RAG-based systems and other systems that you want your computing to be processed while having any AI operations. Now, you have the vector databases, what kind of queries you are going to do, how to access the data, how to like search for data. There are various algorithms. Like suppose you have various filters and like methods to join the data in SQL. Let's say like group by, having, close, group by these operations, filter out these and match or not. So similarly, that's how you query, or you can say you choose the method to depict the next word from the vector database in its own preference. So each algorithm has its different methods. Some use semantic search, some use similarity based search, some use the nearest neighbors. So if you use different kinds of setups, you get the different kinds of results. Now coming back to here, you get the idea of databases. You get the API's application programming interface. If you don't know detail, like let's say if I'm hitting this API, go here, go towards the dev tool, network, let me hit any. Yeah, uh, network hit from sources. So if you hit any of the API, you pass some data, you pass some JSON inside it in terms of, okay, JSON, we will cover in detail. Yeah, very responsive. Yeah, these are the types of API that you are calling. So what is the API? The developers might relate to it, but okay, for someone who is not into development, consider API is uh, as an exchange man. So what happens is API, suppose I'm interacting with the front end. What do we do in API is we define a system where we, let's say, like, okay, I'm authorized. This is my identity. You give some kind of identity. Let's say you're going to a bank, you give your, or your post bank, you're giving your credentials, which you are stored. Hey, this is my bank. Let's consider example of bank. Hey, this is my account number. I'm authorized. Let's say they give you a token, like this token is valid for 6 hours. So that's how front-end interacts with backend. They authenticate. In highly scalable systems, they acquire token. Like let's say this token is valid for some duration. Hey, I have the token. I'm authorized this. I want to know about my feed, right? So like you are scrolling on Instagram. So what API will give you? API give you all the results in the form of JSON. Uh, okay, here we go. Simple JSON. Yeah, user ID, username, email is active rows. Simple. Backend will give you this kind of databases as it driven. It gives you what frontend do is it will map here with those postcards or whatever you see on the interface. So the main function of the API is to act as an interface. That's why it's named this application programming interface. Interface between the front end and the server or in the database, let's say basically. So it fetches the user request from the front end and results the data in the form of databases. The use of headers and tokens, let's say authorization headers is to check what kind of access do you have. Like if I'm going to bank, I can't check like how much money is some other's bank account. No, I don't have access to that. Similarly, if a bank account manager goes that like yeah he can check all the balances, but he can't withdraw money from anyone else's bank account. He can open and close his bank account also. So authorization token they check the access. Now, if you do that, you get the data. That's the simplest working of the APIs. Mobile apps, uh, in mobile devices, they interact with the APIs only. IoT devices, physical devices, they collect the data, they store in the file, based some kind of processing, and in some kind of electric signals, then they process it to the data, and then they give it to you. Internet, internet is a okay. Some these references of the internet, and from there you are fetching. It's more standard. So these are the data sources. The most important out of them is obviously the vector databases. If we are talking about machine learning, its interaction and everything. So that's why we have to focus more. So you must not be very good with vectors, but you must understand what vectors really are. So if you don't know vectors, then there might be a situation. Just Google it, just open a brief about it and learn like what are vectors, what do they mean. Just a simple 20 minutes demo video will be good enough for the rest of the parts. Now coming towards data formats. So data format CSV is comma separated values. It's more basically you open that in Excel only, but yeah, the values are mostly test like and they're separated using commas. They are best suited values for like training. Uh, that's kind of CSV data file. It's like if you don't open them in the Excel, but yeah, if you open them in Excel, they takes the columns, tables like that Excel. But yeah, so if we use first row as headers, then you have all of this. So AI infrastructure is is designed in the best way that whatever you use in the data formats in CSV should be processed fastest, uh, like based on what you have given. So CSV is something which we use most frequently. Excel data format, you have worked on tables, rows, and columns, all of that. Based on what I've just shown you in terms of like curly brackets, key value pairs, basically a dictionary type, Parquet. Okay. You need to visualize Parquet. It's using high quality delta tables. If information is available, let me search. Okay. Um, Let me give you the best one. Yeah, here. Each data is stored in some form of chunks in like columns by name of this. So let's say suppose if you want to query something like I need this. So what happens is the normal SQL data it is search based on this from like first to last, and if we found this, it will give you the exact report. But no, it in Parquet each is divided into chunks, so you will know exactly where chunk it has to go in this chunk. This it will give you in the fastest manner possible. It helps you reduce a lot of time, compress the data. You can store large amounts of data as well in the Parquet. Uh, yeah, you can store them in the delta tables if you want to learn about more of them. It's really beneficial if you want to pursue any data analysis or data scientist course. But yeah, More about market data is something, okay, uh, data factory fabric data, if you have studied about fabric delta tables, so yeah, we store market kind of data. So that comes in really helpful for cost querying and data flow, data lake, data warehousing, these all these guys. Uh, yeah, each delta log stored in bucket files and transaction occurs files. Column names, data path, spark of the data frame, spark of the bucket file, bucket table, and get the data completely. So it's not that required while learning machine learning, but yeah, it's beneficial. Packet data is something which we use for data analysis, as I've already previously mentioned. But yeah, you must be know about file which are kind of continuous. Sometimes we get the packet files also from business insights where we have to query, where we have to convert into CSV first, or we can query directly into the packet like Spark languages it used in notebooks and Fabric. That's something where I'm actually working. So yeah, I have actually worked. So this is something which you use more frequently when you do business insights like transformation of the data, gather meaningful insights, and all other stuff. Now comes the data cleaning part, preprocessing techniques. Okay, so data preprocessing is just basically preparing your data for your machine learning model. Now, how you are going to prepare your data is bounded by what algorithm you are using. But yeah, some of the most common data preprocessing techniques include removing optional values, fill missing data, handle data inconsistency. These are the ground rules that you have to follow. So, okay, now you want some ground rules for any type of data preprocessing which you want. Remove the null values, handle handle inconsistency, and logical correctness. So, okay, what do you mean? What do you mean by each three? So that are the ground rules that you move ahead. After that, you process your data, normalize the data, convert them to the values between 0 and 1, handle the textual data. But before all of them come the ground rules. Like remove the null values and then missing data. Like if you have null values out there, how you want it to be processed. You want to delete the entire row. If you want to fill that value by some previous value, by some value that is above that. Okay, and the average of all the values. So all of these operations you can do via Excel or via Power BI, or like you can do via queries uh, in your notebooks as well if you're using Python. And the inconsistency is basically between, like for numerical data, you don't have the predefined data types. Uh, like for salaries, they are given for salaries are given numeric instead, it should be floor for discounts like that. So you want all your data to be consistent, the basis after the discount to be consistent. So you can process the data accordingly. Then comes the logical correctness. Like if something is about this that it cannot be negative one, negative two. So you want your, like suppose age, you want to age to be between 0 or let's say take a say for 100, 110. But if some age is going 180, age is going negative 3, so that's something you have to handle, which will obviously degrade the performance of your model. So after doing these three operations, then you are ready for the next, let's say the step for data cleaning or data normalization. Uh, yes, here it's Data cleaning, handle missing value, removes duplicates. Yes, okay. It's also a ground rule. If you ever encounter duplicates, you need to know that. And yes, correct inconsistent formats as well. Data integration, like if you have two sources data, you want to integrate them, you want to join them, so you can get a final table which you will be passing to your model for learning. It is also something. Okay, data transformation, that is something that comes with advancements like scale normalization, adjusting numerical values to a common scale, mostly accept values between 0 and 1. So how you're going to normalize effectively, categorize values into data, values using one hot encoder or label encoding formats. These are internal like encoding techniques. So, okay, how one, one of border works. Categorical data into 0, 1, or like let's say 2, 1, 2, 3. For encoding values, it assigns the value by itself only. And now, if you try by label encoding, similarly. Feature engineering is basically selecting, okay, uh, feature engineering comes from method, label data insights, whatever you do. Like, if you want to, if you want to, like, okay, taking the example of the Titanic, uh, how many passengers, if a passenger is going to die or not, what all are the important features, like from all the data, like the ticket number, class, name, age, the gender, where they were, like everything, what is the kind of uh, suit they have reserved, from where they were. So all these factors cannot be as important. How are you going to distinguish between them? First, their class. Are they upper class or the lower class? If upper class, are they female or children? So upper class female, they have a high probability. Then upper class males. Similarly, upper class males or lower class females, uh, we can say we prefer the lower class, upper class males. So that's how you can like select the best features which you want your model to process effectively. Uh, yes, data reduction. Okay. Uh, if suppose some features are not at all required, like from their birthplace, so you can remove those features. Principal component analysis, that basically like helps to train your model, like these features and lower dimension basically helps to reduce dimension of the model search cases. So, okay, as much dimensions are there for the model to search, the difficult it is become, the difficult it is for the model to search across the spaces. So you want to reduce the dimensions, you want to give the model like the most simplest form of data you can achieve so that it can work effectively. Sampling methods, reducing the size of databases, yes. Common techniques for data pre-processing, yeah, missing, that's what we are going through. Take a deep run through them, that's a really good documentation. I would suggest that. Uh, yes. Yes. So data cleaning, then feature engineering, feature scaling and normalization, that we are going to demonstrate that in feature selection. All of these come under processing techniques. So after doing all these operations, what happens is you will get a final data in the form of CSV files or table file if you visualize like, okay, if I want my model to predict something for training, what do I have to provide it? This is the data that I'm going to provide for my model. Like these are the features, this is the outcome. I have removed all the necessary features. There is no missing value. All the values are labeled, encoded, normalized. There is no textual data out there. Similarly, uh, I have taken care like no inconsistent data is there, no fraud kind of data is there to disrupt the performance of the model, and I have provided the ample amount of data as well, and for the algorithm that I'm going to pick. And what we're going to check is, okay, uh, after providing the data for the testing of the model, like, okay, yeah, is my, uh, is, are the features that are selected are the most relevant ones or not? Uh, have I mapped them correctly? So once you are clear with all those questions, once you have the perfect kind of data set, then the algorithm which you're going to choose will be going to deliver a higher performance than some other algorithm, or rather than some other data set who have not cleaned or optimized it perfectly. So for this practice, what I suggest is open Kaggle. Like, it's super simple, it's super easy. Uh, okay, once you sign in, go through there some of the contests. There you will get the data, there you will get the notebook, you will get the environment, the cluster, everything running perfectly scaled. Like, you just import the packages, do the operations, clean the data, pre-process the data, and like test on different algorithms that you know. Like, go learn by doing. That's exactly the best way to learn. So once you practice with the different algorithms, you see you get the different kind of accuracies, which we'll cover in detail in the next videos, like how do we get different kinds of accuracies if used to different models. But yeah, if you pre-process the data, once you get the final outcome of the data, you will be able to understand, like, okay, why these techniques are much more relevant as compared to not pre-processing the data. Because if you if you're talking to the AI, if you're communicating with AI something, you give the context. If the context is not 100% correct, somehow AI is still able to decode it. So how does that happen? Why the ML model doesn't able to do it? So there's complete a lot detailed understanding behind that, and it's happened because you train the model effectively on the ample amount of data for having clear values than on basis of missing values. So yeah, all of these come into picture after that. So we will going to cover them while we are going to learn different kinds of algorithms, supervised and supervised clustering, um, how to select, how do these operations work in real life, how do different models act accordingly, and yeah, what kind of models to use when you're doing what kind of work. So it will going to be a really interesting part once we are going through this section. Static learn, all these algorithms, supervised regression learning algorithms. So yeah, the metrics to find. This is something where you calculate how a model perform, libraries, neural networks. So after all of them go through, then you can go towards the AI path. You can go towards ML loops and all of the paths. But yeah, so till then, take a sample data set, keep on like learn by doing, apply different kind of transformations, prepare your data for the like business insights as well. Use whatever we have learned in the past to gather insights from the data in the most effective way you can. Now coming to the conclusion part, like, okay, you have to do practice on these things a lot to get your foundation quick and ready enough for like what's coming ahead of you. Because that will be fast paced while you are trying to perform the operations. If you are not clear with these prerequisite parts, you Google, grammar, you will search in AI. It's fine, but you need to know how to do that. This is something really important if you are moving towards any like machine learning algorithm, or if you wanted to work with AI, because you want to prepare the data accordingly as per the best of the knowledge. In that, you cannot still get trusted the AI. It doesn't matter how much advanced the model is. Even though I'm using Opus 2.8 and other models, um, still based on certain algorithms, data cleaning and feature selection and all those aspects, I choose them myself. Now coming towards other aspects, yeah, you can take the help of AI in the beginner phase, learn, but try to code these things yourself in Python notebooks, wherever you would like to do. Open Kaggle, sign up for account, try to do various competitions. They are free of cost. You don't have to pay anything. You can learn from. There are various data sets as well. Yeah, they provide various learning courses as well. Uh, Now coming towards the frequency of the videos, like, yeah, no, I want to apologize for the delay, of course, but yeah, still, I'm trying a lot of things right now lately, but yeah, I'll try to figure them out. And yes, so by the time keep learning, keep on practicing, we will start forward with machine learning really quick. And yes, if you have any questions, you can ask in the comments itself or DM me on the LinkedIn. And yeah, I've shared a new post on LinkedIn. If you haven't gone through it, let me just give you a brief insight. Okay, let me show you. Okay, yeah, just two just two announcements like DHR Lang 3.0 is completely out. It supports blockchain as well. So feel free to try that out. Provide any feedback, any comment, any insight that you feel is very helpful. I've shared the GitHub link as well. You can raise the open issues. If you want to contribute, go towards the guidelines, read the resources and contribute as well. But yeah, that's something that I want to talk about. So I'm open to any kind of sessions. Like we will just go live, take any problem on the lead code. So simultaneously, we'll exchange the thinking process, the approach we are taking to solve the problems. And yeah, we can try new approaches by sharing insights and how does that work. We both like can learn a lot. So if you're interested, reach out and yeah, we can plan a session when both will get the time and we'll try on some of the problems as well. So it will be a great one-to-one session. If it, yeah, we might not go live as well. We can just have a one call and yeah, we can discuss about that. So just these two try on PHR Lang. If you're into blockchain or anything, provide all the relevant comments that you wanted to share and yeah, interact in this if you wanted to. And for machine learning, keep innovating, and yes, just do whatever you want you do. Like try to learn without the help of the AI in the initial phases. After after that, when you use the AI to boost up your speed, it will be very helpful. So yeah, take care, bye bye, keep learning, and good night.